So welcome to the Krosslink event get together. Very excited to see that the program is in its 10th month right now as we speak. And just to take a summary or a recap of why we started this journey, Krosslink and these get-togethers, these monthly events, the inspiration behind this program is the challenge and an opportunity for us to solve a critical problem in an entrepreneur's journey. When you're starting your entrepreneurial journey, an aspiring entrepreneur usually stumbles across one of the most difficult phases right at the beginning, and that is loneliness, and they are left on their own. They don't know what they don't know, and they don't know where to go for help, and they don't know whether they're on the right track or on the wrong track. Our goal and our vision and our hope is that we can use library as a platform and create this momentum out here within the community where no aspiring entrepreneur will end up feeling that he or she is alone in this journey. They'll have a place to come to every month. They'll have a meeting. They'll have a group of friends where they can talk about what they're working on. They'll have experts who can guide them, or they can listen to others who have succeeded and get inspiration and learn from the journeys. So this is the 10th month event going on out here, and today I'm very excited to introduce our guest speaker, Gauri Chandna. Gauri Chandna, for those of us living in Shrewsbury, needs no introduction. She's the founder of Adarchila, the Foundation Stone ETFS online learning center, and recently she's also into the media, the TV Foundations TV, and it is gaining momentum leaps and bounds. If you walk into ATF's learning center, you don't need to ask anybody what's exciting about it because you can see the paths. If I were you, I would go to that center first and see the excitement out there and the kind of accomplishments that you can see with kids that are learning math, learning science, learning education material, after school learning. It's reinventing the concept of after school learning and taking it to a whole new level. It's so exciting. It's so easy to explain the excitement behind that journey. But it is so difficult to actually put yourself in their shoes and then say, what did it take to take this idea, which started in a basement with 2 students at Billy, and I'm sure the first one was her own son, right? And then scaling it up to 200 plus students. I cannot think about even comprehend the challenges that she went through. So I'm looking forward to hearing a story and learning a lot of her secret recipes and success stories and tips and tricks. With that, not much ado, Gauri, thank you.
Thanks a lot, and first of all, congratulations to Krosslink. It's been quite a journey, 10 months. I was surprised when we were having a casual conversation and you mentioned that we're almost there, the first anniversary is coming up. So that was like, really? And when you said October, oh my God, yeah, that's true. I was there for the first event in Westboro as well when it kicked off. So congratulations for that. And you're now up to 5 libraries, so that's quite an achievement. That's great. And thank you, Priya, for having me here today, and thank you, Venkat. Welcome to the event. And as Venkat said, thank you so much for the nice, kind words. I do believe I am an entrepreneur at heart. I am an engineer by background, and I do a lot of different things, and I think the core that kind of puts everything together is the entrepreneur in me. That's who I am. But it took me, I think, a few years to actually figure out that I am born to be an entrepreneur. It did take me a while, so it's not easy. I would say it was not easy for me, at least, when I chose to leave my job. And it was a well-paying job. I was at the next level, getting a promotion. So the decision making was whether to go for the higher status and higher salary and more hours, or should I now quit my job and forget that I'm going to get any money at all to begin with for a couple of years. Should I do that? It was a tough decision, and that was back in 2002 when the economy was kind of going down. So it was a tough decision, but I think the passion in me and the mother in me, I would say, was the biggest driving factor. My son at the time was only 2 years old, so he was really not my first student. But my first student ended up being a friend's son who was in middle school, and we just kind of were chatting, and I was like, I really need to be home with my son. I want to do something that is interesting and it makes a difference, and I don't want to just sit idle. So my personal reason was that, and I was not sure whether I'm actually going to be successful or not. So I just dived in when he suggested that if at all you choose, since you have an engineering background, and if at all you choose to tutor, my son would be your first student. And that just stuck with me, and I came home and discussed it with my husband, and he was the one who took the idea to the next level. He's more of a person with a vision. So that is, of course, something that I always confess, that I don't have a vision. He's the one with the vision. But he can't execute. He's not an entrepreneur. I am the entrepreneur. Because I have the passion. Once I make up my mind, I think that is very, very important. I have the decision making in me, which is very, very important as an entrepreneur, to have that skill within yourself. To be comfortable with authority. It's something that is not talked about as much, but not many people are comfortable with an authoritative position. They would rather just do what they're told to do. So if you feel in general that you have that characteristic, I think that's a very strong point that stays with you and takes you to the next level, because you take ownership and you take responsibility and you're not afraid of that. So I think that was another thing that I was just kind of, looking back and saying, okay, that's a characteristic that is important for an entrepreneur. And a couple of other things I did right, of course, was independent thinking and problem solving. I think those two are also very, very important, because the creativity has to be always alive. You can get inspired by people, you can look at ideas, and you can browse around and see how other people are doing things, but you'll never be able to sustain yourself if that creativity is missing as an entrepreneur, I think, because you have to continue to come up with new ways of doing, innovative ways of doing things. Not only for the sake of business, because business will always be moving either up or down. So if it's not moving up, it's moving down. So not only for that reason, which you realize later on, which I've realized over the years, I didn't know going in that this is how it's going to be, but also for your own satisfaction, that passion that's within you, that to keep that passion alive. I think for me personally, the creativity aspect is very, very important. And if I don't do it my way, it's not gonna get done the best possible way. So I think that's really, really important as well. And I think most entrepreneurs, once they know or they decide to take a step towards entrepreneurship, I think that's like a basic thing that they go with, start off with. So that's something is important. And then problem solving, I think, is also extremely important, because no ride is going to be a smooth ride. There's going to be all sorts of challenges, because this one thing is sitting and envisioning what you want or what you dream of, or looking at a problem and coming up with a solution, or looking at a need and coming up with an idea of how to solve that need. But the execution of it is going to be filled with challenges, absolutely, because you're interacting with real people. And that is, again, I'm going to bring in my husband here again, because he's the one with the vision, and he and I communicate so much with each other. And we discuss ideas, we go out for walks, hour-long, 2-hour-long, and we're talking, we're discussing. And a lot of times, anytime we agree to disagree, the main theme or the reason behind it is that's something what you're saying is so theoretically. I'm the one dealing with real people. It's not that it doesn't work that way in this world with kids and with, things that things happen. So you got to be prepared for those things. Yes, idealistically, I would love to follow that vision, but to get to that point or to even work towards that point in that certain direction, there's a lot of challenges. So every little problem, every little thing, you need that tenacity, that strength. I was not prepared when I started from my home. It was from the basement. I didn't know it was going to grow to become a full-fledged center. I had not dreamed of it becoming a full-fledged strength center the way it is today, with independent building, collaborating with multiple organizations and this and that. So it's a busy place now, but when I started in the basement, that's not how I was thinking it's going to go. It moved on to the dining table with, instead of 2 kids, now we had 6 kids. So, and then it moved to a separate room where we had, 10 kids, and then back into the basement with 16 kids, and then like, okay, now it's time to look out for a building. But I did not know the moment I walked into the building, I felt out of place, because as a mother, as an entrepreneur, I'm just working, like kind of tutoring from home. I never imagined I'll be there with an open sign flashing and people walking in, and that excitement. I was nervous. I was nervous because I was not prepared for it, because I didn't have that vision. So I believe that's a quality, that's a core quality, not a skill. So I don't have that. You either have it or you don't have it, but self-awareness is important. So if you don't have it, in my case, I'm aware of it, that I don't have it. So I think that's another thing in entrepreneurship, to know what you have, to know your strengths, and to know what your weaknesses are, so you can build a team that will complement your skills and competencies, and be willing to accept that, I don't have a vision, he does, and I trust his vision. So similarly, he trusts my execution, so it helps, it definitely helps. So those, I feel like, are strengths that helped me as an entrepreneur throughout these years. I don't believe I would have been able to write these points 5 years ago. I think I can write these points now, because now recently I've also started another business. And it's like that's what made me realize that it's not what I'm doing, it's who I am. I am an entrepreneur. So I can work on anything that I develop a passion for. Maybe 5 years down the road, I could be doing something else, just because there's an ignition in me that I want to, get out somehow and get it, or some idea. So I believe there's this tendency that people have, and they're born entrepreneurs. So that's what I wanted to say. I mean, I can take questions, but I also have other things. If you have any questions so far.
I do, but I'll wait.
Okay.
So I'll listen to the whole presentation. I do have a couple of questions. So.
Okay, sure. So now, this was like, what are the characteristics of being an entrepreneur, as for my own self-awareness journey throughout. And then the execution part of it, I kind of touched upon it a little bit. Vision is of course important, but before the vision, the need, identifying the need is very, very important. Is there a need for it? I mean, if you're going to be doing a business, you want to make money. So you don't want to do something that many people are doing, and there's more, suppliers than demand. So obviously it's going to be, you're going to put yourself into a situation where you're going to have more challenges. So in my case, both my businesses, I believe there was a need for it. So let me talk about ATFS, since we're focusing on that today. So with my child, I felt the need was there because I am an immigrant into this country, and I didn't study in the school system here. I had no clue about the education system in this country. And one of my things was that I don't want my child growing up and looking at me and saying, "Mom, you know nothing about it." That sentence, that thing, was haunting me day and night. And for personal reasons, that was one reason I wanted to, I wanted to start looking into the education system and see just to be able to educate myself. So I did want to get involved. I could have involved myself as a parent, but then as I started to look into the education system, I felt, and I started to tutor one of my friend's child over a couple of years, I realized that it's something I enjoy doing, and there is a gap. There is a gap. There's multiple hundreds and thousands of families here who are feeling what I'm feeling. But they have a regular job and they don't have time to give to their kids. So that's where the need was identified. So what if I develop a model that I can offer to families, working parents, because I was coming from that background and I felt that urge that my child needs to be home and I can't be spending 12 hours at work and coming home and spending time with my child for their homework and making sure they get all the academic attention that they need. So coming from a family of teachers and having it in my blood, academics was like so instilled in me. And I saw that need was there. And just talking to multiple parents, a lot of children were kind of not working with their own parents because of the same reason that sentence that was haunting me, that you know nothing about it. So a lot of immigrant families, a lot of parents who were not brought up here, who didn't go to the school system here, had no clue how things work. So there was a gap. And there was nobody who was doing it. There were probably I think it was one person who was doing tutoring, but there was no after-school program focused on purely academics. Yes, there are other programs, they have their own curriculums, but not homework help. So that's where we did a little, kind of analysis and figured out that there's definitely a need. And I think it's a combination of not just independently thinking of what the solution is. I think the first student and the first few students not only became paying clients, but they also became sources of information for us and for me to gather and kind of evolve my own process based on their needs. So instead of every time they would come back to me and ask me for a service or help in a certain area, I would help them and I would work with them in a customized fashion, but every night I would take that back with me and see how can I expand that to a level that it can be more generic. So more and more people can be attracted to this process. So there was gathering information from my clients or my students, which there was so much joy in giving them that service, and then bringing it back every night, generalizing it and creating a whole structure around it, a whole program around it, and then bringing that program and marketing that program and getting that information out there so people who are actually looking for it would find us, they would know who to go to. And then this process is obviously it kind of grows because everybody who comes in with information and you learn from them and you evolve and you take your process to the next level, and it kind of just, the snowball effect started, and we did go up to a level where the after-school program was defined, the tutoring program was defined, then there was a need where people found out from different towns and they said, is there a way you can give us materials? So we started to develop our own curriculum, which took us years, but it did, and what is the source of those? We found software. So basically it was the need for me, for the center, it was more like the need and more because I was so involved with the process and so passionate about it. I would be sitting at midnight, putting my son to bed and sitting up at midnight and thinking about it, and there were times that even after we got the thing, even till today, even this year, this is our 14th year of operation, I remember the first day of school, I was there at 10 o'clock in the morning, kids don't come until 3, I was there at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I came home 6 o'clock, now we have a dog, so I brought the dog, and I was attracted, and I came home and took care of the dog. And I was so restless, I couldn't stay inside my house, I couldn't stay outside my house. And I came home and I said, I'm going back to work. I just went because I just stayed at the center because there were things that were I needed to do, and I get restless. So I think that's the passion that has to be alive, and it is still alive for me. So I love doing what I'm doing, and it's still evolving, it's still developing, it's still growing. Every time a new parent walks in, or a parent or a child walks in, it's just awesome. So definitely the need, and then the vision. I think one of the things that also kept me going, and I think it's very important for execution of a plan, is self-confidence and determination. Because there will be umpteen times where you doubt yourself and you'll say, am I doing the right thing? Because there will be times where the economy is not good, or somebody lost their job, and you question yourself, like, did I do something wrong? Why are they withdrawing their child from the center? And so that happens, even today it happens, and it's a good thing to question yourself, it's a good thing to analyze, but on the other hand, it's also very, very important to hold on to your self-confidence and be determined and be sure of your process. But the analysis helps, it always helps. I still think about it. If a child leaves us, why did they leave us? And most of the times I'm able to figure out, but there are times where you do your own analysis, and you need to be flexible and adaptable to it as well, and not, so there's like a thin line or a balance. You have to be self-confident and determined with what you're doing, and be sure what you're doing, but on the other hand, you don't want to be adamant and stubborn about it, because you're not God, you're not always going to be right. So there will be times where you have to tell yourself that I made a mistake, there was a mistake that happened here, and we need to correct that. What happened? So maybe some staff member or something happened, or my presence should be a little bit more, or I should have gotten involved with this process a little before, I was too late stepping in, or whatever reason. So that analysis always continues, and execution that becomes important. I think that there's a balance to stay with that. The other thing I felt with, and now I'm going to kind of connect both my businesses, is that rule breaking. You have to be a little daring, I think. I broke a lot of rules. I don't think there was a center like ATFS before I started it. There is none like us today. Similarly with Foundations TV. I was the one who started Foundations TV. I was the one who believes in it. There is nobody else who can do it the way I do it. I believe in that because I break a lot of rules. I don't do it the traditional way. I do it my way. I think you have to be daring enough to do that. You have to be able to take those risks and tell yourself, that you're going to do it. But again, you can't be stupid about it. So, if something doesn't work for a very long time, you have to realize that, this rule was not meant to be broken. So you kind of use your judgment. So it's an intelligent process. You have to trust your intellect to a level, and then and then of course I think we kind of touched upon it before we started the session, is the team. There's always this as an entrepreneur, I think that's the most challenging with small businesses, your own business, home-based businesses, or businesses that start with just for your own satisfaction's sake. There's always this time, when do you develop a team? When do you let go? I had trouble letting go. I don't have any hesitation in sharing that. I think the first 3 years of ATFS, I was doing everything by myself, because there was always this, what's coming in has to be reinvested into the business. And so the financial reason versus my own passion, I was so passionate about it that I was not even willing to share my passion with anybody else. So call it selfishness or whatever, the satisfaction that I derive from my work is so important to me that I'm not willing to let go of it. I did that for the first 3 years. And then I started to develop. And I think one of the challenges was for me who do I hire? Like, who do I need in my business? Because I can do everything. I can do the finances, I can teach, I can balance my house, I can manage the facility, I can get the supplies, I can do whatever. I'm a whole and soul person, but what do I let go of first? So I think the last thing I let go of in ATFS was a few years ago when I started to let somebody else pick up the phone. The interaction, the customer facing interaction, because I felt that I bring a lot to the table, and people come to ATFS because of me. But I'm glad I did it though. I think it's more scalable now. It took me a while. We developed teachers now. We have teachers who teach different groups, and they do a lot of. I'm pretty hands off at this point. I'm only, as you know, I'm there if I need it, but most of the times it's now in a self-driven mode. It was a learning process for me, but I won't say that it's replicable because my other business I'm still holding on to. It's only been 2 years and it's more of a creative thing for me. So I'm holding on to it. We work on projects and we build teams for different projects and we work together. But I don't have full-fledged staff in my second business yet. Someday I will get there. That's my hardest part. But I think team is important, though. I feel the value of the team a lot, especially with ATFS. I feel I have to say that because they are very, very dependable. And over a period of time, we've been able to develop that independence and that mode where everybody knows what they have to do. And I think that is certainly very important to have eventually. To grow your business, like that has been very phenomenal for me. A change in my personal way of doing things, but it worked for me. So